The Fellowship stood at the edge of the weathered wooden dock, facing the imposing silhouette of the Kraken's Revenge. Captain Tony, a figure of maritime wisdom with a beard that rustled like the Kraken's tendrils, welcomed them aboard his vessel. "Captain," Andy spoke with a sense of determination, "we seek passage Manacapuru, Brazil, to seek the heart of the Amazon. Following the legacy of my great-grandfather, we're on a quest for a lost city of gold hidden within the rainforest. We believe your expertise can guide us through these uncharted waters." Tony's eyes reflected the depth of the sea's mysteries. Tony nodded thoughtfully. "A quest for gold in the heart of the Amazon, ye say? A treacherous endeavor, but I've sailed these waters for many a year. Let's discuss the details." As the trio and the captain delved into the intricacies of their journey, Dave, the first mate known for his keen eye on opportunities for loot, listened intently. His ears perked up at any mention of potential treasures that might await them in the unexplored territories of the Amazon. Amidst the exchange of stories and plans, the Fellowship found themselves in a spirited discussion about the adventure that lay ahead. Paul, his eyes gleaming with excitement, interjected, "Captain, this quest feels like something out of the Goonies. You remember One-Eyed Willie's ship and the untold riches they sought? Our journey is bound to be just as legendary." Captain Tony chuckled, recognizing the spirit of adventure in Paul's words. "Aye, lad, the sea be a canvas for tales both grand and perilous. If ye be willing to face the unknown, the Kraken's Revenge shall be your vessel." As the discussion wrapped up, the Fellowship, now including Chris, stepped onto the ship's deck. The village of Kraken's Cove lay before them, its flickering lights casting a warm glow on the departing adventurers. The Kraken's Revenge set sail, leaving behind the comforting lights of the port. The ship ventured into the open sea, the village lights gradually diminishing on the horizon. The air resonated with the sounds of creaking sails and the gentle lapping of water against the ship's hull. The Fellowship, standing on the deck, watched as the lights of Kraken's Cove grew smaller, a beacon of warmth fading into the vast expanse of the night. The transition from the known to the unknown marked the beginning of a journey that held the promise of untold discoveries. The ship sailed steadily into the night, guided by the stars above and the shared determination of those aboard. The Fellowship, now united by purpose and the allure of uncharted territories, looked ahead with a mix of excitement and determination. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the vast expanse of the ocean, night fell upon the Kraken's Revenge. The crew bustled about the ship, tending to their duties under the watchful eye of Captain Tony, who stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the starlit sky. With the day's journey behind them, Andy, the main character and a barber and hairdresser from Hollow Bottom, gathered with his companions on the deck. They were not seasoned sailors, but rather a diverse group brought together by fate and a shared quest for adventure. Laughter and camaraderie filled the air as they exchanged tales of past adventures and shared their hopes for the journey ahead. Matt, with his carefree spirit and a penchant for adventure, leaned over to inspect a curious tattoo on Dave's arm. "Hey Dave, what's the story behind your tattoo?" Matt asked, his curiosity piqued. Dave grinned, tracing the intricate design with his finger. "Ah, this old thing? It's a reminder of my days sailing with Captain Shanks, but that's a tale for another time." Matt's eyes sparkled with intrigue, but he respected Dave's reluctance to share the story just yet. "Fair enough, Dave. I'll hold you to that, but I have a feeling it's a story worth hearing." As the conversation flowed, Captain Tony joined the group, his presence commanding respect and admiration. He invited the Fellowship to join him in his cabin for drinks and merriment, a gesture of camaraderie that warmed their hearts. With eager smiles, Andy and his companions followed the captain to his cabin, their anticipation mingling with the sense of camaraderie that bound them together. Inside the cabin, the warmth of a crackling fire welcomed them, casting flickering shadows on the walls adorned with nautical charts and memorabilia from Captain Tony's voyages. A table groaned under the weight of an array of beverages from spiced rum to aged whiskey, inviting the Fellowship to indulge in the pleasures of the night. As they settled into their seats, Andy continued to entertain the group with tales of his adventures in Hollow Bottom, weaving a tapestry of humor and nostalgia that had his friends laughing uproariously. Amidst the laughter and banter, Matt's carefree spirit shone through, adding an air of levity to the gathering. And as they raised their glasses in a toast to new beginnings and the mysteries that awaited them in the heart of the Amazon, the fellowship felt a sense of unity and purpose that would carry them through the trials and tribulations of their journey ahead. As the night wore on and the fellowship indulged in drinks and laughter in Captain Tony's cabin, Dave found himself sinking into a comfortable chair, his gaze drifting towards the captain with a mixture of respect and nostalgia. With a few drinks warming his spirits, Dave couldn't resist the urge to broach the topic of Captain Shanks. Captain Dave began, his voice tinged with reverence, tell them about the man behind the legend, Shanks. Captain Tony's eyes twinkled with memories as he leaned back in his chair, a knowing smile playing on his lips. Ah, Captain Shanks. Now there was a man you wouldn't soon forget. He paused, taking a sip of his drink before launching into tales of their adventures together. Captain Shanks, he explained, was a fearless leader with a penchant for eccentricity. He had a strange electric policy, only sailing in his pants, claiming it increased his connection with the sea. The man was as daring as they come, Tony continued, his voice filled with admiration. But he had a heart of gold beneath that rough exterior. He christened our ship the Kevin, a schooner built for speed and transport, and we sailed her on missions for both trade and loot. Dave nodded, hanging on to every word of Tony's captivating narrative. He listened intently as Tony recounted their encounters with strange beasts like bears and their fights against formidable foes on the high seas. We faced our fair share of challenges, Tony reminisced, a hint of pride in his voice. But Captain Shanks was always one step ahead, leading us with courage and cunning. He taught me everything I know about navigating the unpredictable waters of life. As Tony's stories unfolded, the cabin seemed to come alive with the echoes of their adventures. The fellowship listened with rapt attention, drawn into the tales of bravery and camaraderie that defined their shared experiences. As the night wore on and the fellowship indulged in drinks and laughter in Captain Tony's cabin, Matt's keen appetite for adventure prompted him to inquire further about their past exploits. Captain Tony, Matt interjected eagerly, his eyes alight with curiosity. Could you tell us more about the adventures you and Captain Shanks embarked upon? I'm dying to hear about the daring escapades you faced together. A fond smile graced Captain Tony's face as he obliged Matt's request, delving deeper into the annals of their shared history. He recounted the invasion of their island base by the fearsome Gulu Gulu, a notorious band of marauders who struck fear into the hearts of sailors across the seas. It was a dark and stormy night, Tony began, setting the stage for the harrowing tale. The Gulu Gulu descended upon our base like a swarm of locusts, their ships looming on the horizon like galleons of doom. We were caught unawares, roused from our slumber with naught but our pants and weapons to defend ourselves. As Tony's words painted a vivid picture of the chaos that ensued, the fellowship listened in awe, their imaginations ignited by the gravity of the situation. In the midst of the chaos, Captain Shanks sprang into action, Tony continued, his voice brimming with admiration. He devised a daring plan to turn the tide of battle in our favor. Using winged flyers, I swooped down from the mountain tops, setting fire to the enemy ships and distracting them long enough for us to mount a defense. Dave, his eyes shining with pride, nodded in agreement, recalling the fierce hand-to-hand combat that ensued as they fought tooth and nail against the invaders. But despite our valor, Tony went on, his tone growing somber, we were ultimately overwhelmed by the sheer force of the Gulu Gulu. Yet, in a display of honor and respect, they spared our lives. We sailed away with our lives, our enemies saluting us holding torches of fire as we sailed off into the sea with Shanks in nothing more than our pants and ragged shirts to our names. As Tony's tale drew to a close, the cabin was filled with a sense of awe and admiration for the bravery shown by their clan in the face of defeat. Paul, trembling with excitement, leaned forward eagerly. His eyes sparkled with anticipation as he addressed Captain Tony. Captain Paul began, his voice trembling with excitement. What happened to Captain Shanks after that fateful night with the Gulu Gulu? Captain Tony's expression softened, his gaze turning inward as he recalled the tale. Chris, looking on in awe, listened intently, his respect for the legendary captain evident in his demeanor. Many years later, Captain Tony began, his voice grave. I heard a story about Captain Shanks. He was last seen sailing into a storm aboard his final ship, the HMS Pray for Mojo. The fellowship fell silent, hanging on every word as Tony continued his tale. People say he never survived, Tony went on, his voice tinged with sadness. All that could be heard on the wind was Shanks shouting, I fear no storm, and danger lives if ships turn left. The cabin was filled with a solemn reverence as Tony's words sank in. Captain Shanks, a man of unparalleled bravery and daring, had faced his final challenge with characteristic courage. Many say he lost his mind with the vastness of the sea, Tony concluded, his voice trailing off. But Captain Shanks lives on in our hearts and minds, a testament to the enduring spirit of adventure that courses through the veins of every sailor who braves the open ocean. The fellowship sat in silence, the weight of Captain Shanks' legacy hanging heavy in the air, and as they reflected on his memory, they felt a renewed sense of determination to honor his legacy with every step of their own journey into the heart of the Amazon. As the last traces of Kraken's Cove disappeared from view, the fellowship turned towards the bow of the ship, facing the endless expanse of the open sea. The adventure had begun, and the Kraken's revenge sailed forth into the night, guided by the stars and the shared resolve of those aboard. The ocean, a vast realm of mysteries, cradled the ship in its embrace. The fellowship, bound by the legacy of Andrew's great-grandfather and the guidance of Captain Tony's map, stood ready to navigate the waters that held the key to the secrets of the Amazon. The journey into the unknown had commenced, leaving the village lights far behind and opening the door to a chapter yet to be written in the annals of their shared expedition.